Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Jeff Unfiltered. I'm still trying to make my voice sound like my wife says I'm talking normally, so I'm just going to talk normally since Morgan's standing over there. All right, guys, welcome to another show. I wanted to start off today by addressing a situation that unfolded in a couple of different places today where claims were made that it's sad that there are individuals out there who are attacking candidates personally. And I want to make something very clear. In all of my videos that I've published so far, and anything I've said out in public, I have not been attacking any of the candidates personally. I have been very clear. I have brought receipts every time showing what the candidates have claimed or done and debunked it. I'm going to do the same thing today. One of the candidates, Mendel, has come out with her campaign literature, and I haven't seen her speak anywhere because she hasn't shown up to any of the public forums that have been held downtown that I've been to. I've been to two. And that claim is that she's pro-business and supports lower taxes. I did a public records request with the city of Sebring to get some information on votes that have actually occurred. So when you say you're pro-business, it means that, for me anyway, as a business owner, I believe that pro-business means less regulation, less taxes, let us do what we do and serve the public in whatever capacity we serve them in and get off our backs. I think that's what most small businesses believe. I also believe that when you're an elected official and you're thinking about some of those decisions, whether it's zoning, taxing, special assessments, whatever it is you're voting on, you really need to take the people that are living in your community and the people that invest, businesses, and employ people and pay the taxes that support not just the district downtown, but the entire town. I think that's very important. And if you're not taking those into consideration, then you're not really making the best decision. So in the case of Ms. Mendel, she's claimed that she's for lower taxes and more business friendly. Well, here's some receipts. These are official votes on the millage rate that were turned into the state of Florida. I have 3. Of those 3, Ms. Mendel voted to increase taxes 2 times and in fact did not even show up. Once a year, you make this official vote about setting the millage rate. And one of those, she chose not to even show up. That not only doesn't show care for small business or lower taxes, it shows no care for anything. You make a commitment as an elected official to show up when you're needed, to research the issues, and make decisions and votes when you're called to do so. Not showing up, in my opinion, a dereliction of duty. But raising taxes at least 3 times, and I didn't get all the records, but I would bet that every time setting the millage came up, she voted to set it at an increased rate. Also, special assessments, and by the way, I'm not talking about what the city does with the money or the department that it goes to, but assessments have also been raised while she was in office. During that time, those assessments go up for commercial property owners, for the most part, carry the burden of that. Who are commercial property owners? They're small business owners like me and a lot of the people that I know downtown that own buildings, own businesses, and have toiled tirelessly to try and cover not only the employees that they serve, but to keep their businesses open during slow times. So if you're pro-business, you're going to try and look at the budget. You're going to analyze every page of it and every line of it. You're going to meet with staff and you're going to try and figure out what you can do, if anything, to keep those fees low. The records that I have seen, Ms. Mendel voted to increase taxes every time. Now I want to cover that a little bit too, because there's a lot of misnomers out there. Today I'm going to talk about keeping the millage rate the same. Every year at budget time, the city reports the total amount of revenue they expect to get based on the property values provided by the Highlands County Property Appraiser's Office. They then are forced by the state of Florida to calculate something called the rolled back rate. The rolled back rate is what would the millage rate be to collect the same amount of tax revenue from the prior fiscal year in the current fiscal year, which means that if my current millage is 7% and the property values went up by $1 million, I'm going to get more tax revenue. On the surface, it looks like, and candidates often will tell you, we've kept the millage rate the same every year. But that's a misnomer, because if they did not adopt the rolled back rate and set that as their assessment for the current year, then they in fact raised your taxes every time, meaning that you're going to pay more taxes this year than last year. And the elected official would say, yeah, but that's because your property value went up. But you know how you can keep revenue flat from the prior year. You do that adopting the rolled back rate, which keeps the tax rate the same, and you'll pay the same amount of tax even though the property value went up. So you can't pass the buck on that and say, oh, it's the property appraiser's fault or the market's increasing. Okay, great. The market increases, my property value goes up. That's a good thing for everyone. But just because the value of my property went up by 10% in that year, why should the amount of tax revenue that local government gets go up by that same amount? And don't get me wrong, there's definitely cost of living increases that we need to go through, but do they really take the time to go through them and discuss it? I can tell you no, because I brought it up at budget hearings in the past, and no one listened and no one adopted the rolled back rate. We adopted the budget as presented. So the receipts for today are Terry Mendel claiming she's pro small business and pro lower taxes. To me, that's not a factually accurate statement. Her record and the receipts that I showed do not support the claim that she's putting out there during this campaign cycle. Politicians should always be upfront, they should always be transparent, and they should be honest when they speak to the public. Thank you very much for joining me on Jeff Unfiltered. Again, I'm going to see you probably every day until March the 10th. Don't forget to vote March 10th. Early voting is now closed. We've had 275 votes cast in the city of Sebring. That's a pretty big number. Not a big number compared to the overall pool of registered voters in the city limits, but it's a big number compared to the number that we normally get during a general city election. So let's try and get all your friends out there. Remember, Tuesday, March 10th is election day. Vote your conscience. Vote what you think is best for the city of Sebring. And remember, you have 3 choices. Don't waste one. Don't single punch that ballot. Vote for all 3. Otherwise, you're wasting your voice as an American and as a citizen of this great state and the city of Sebring. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow on Jeff Unfiltered.